All right, tune in. Episode 54, we talk about changes in business, changes in government, and Ferris wheels.
You're listening to Between Two Bridges, a business-to-business podcast. With your hosts, Anthony R. Destiny, Joe Ferrani, and Jerry Kenna. Interviewing entrepreneurs, business operators, and investors. This episode of Between Two Bridges is sponsored by Paymark Payroll. Payday is the most important day to your most important people, and payday is made easy at www.payyourpeople.com.
All right. 54 coming at you. 54 straight hours of business.
Man. It's a lot of hours.
Yeah, you look tired.
We could have worked a whole another week with the amount of time we spend dropping knowledge.
I have done that recently since like episode 20.
Week?
Yeah, episode 26. I stopped bitching about not having any time.
Yeah.
To my wife because
Still don't have time.
Yeah, I'm tired today because I did something for the last 3 days that I try not to do. I actually got in the weeds and did accounting, like book work. Reconciled bank accounts, did transactions, because we're making some changes. We've been talking about it a while. The software systems are all up and running. So now we're moving clients over to it. So I picked the lucky guy and I got them all transitioned over. So I've been going through and trying to get everything cleaned up and journal entries, just being, spot on, making sure everything's perfect, getting everything good, because I have a meeting with them coming up.
Transition to guy.
Yeah. That's a different podcast, bud. And so I have a meeting with them, and I want to show them this new financial report and be like, this is what we're going to be able to do going into 25. And I think he's going to be pretty impressed with the package that we're going to be able to put together. And so, yeah, I've been in the weeds, man.
Yeah, it's my favorite part of November. When November comes, like you start to look, when Thanksgiving comes, you really ramp into the holiday season, right? So you're just like in survival mode in business. And then once you get to Christmas, like you're at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. So I think like November, I start like not looking at my shortcomings for this year. I start looking towards next year, like start gearing up, putting goals for next year in place now. And it's an ever-changing world, so you put these goals in place and then things change. But like with what I've done this year, I've kind of taken shit under my control, Mm-hmm. So like the building's in place and Allegheny County signed off on our plumbing. And
what?
So, yeah, it was a big step. And so I mean, like those things are like things that you don't think of at the beginning of the year, but like the last month and a half, that's been a goal.
Yeah.
So
this year I decided, there's some things that have, a lot of times, you get busy, the staff gets busy, you're just trying to get stuff done, and there's things sometimes I don't want to say they're sloppy, but like they're not perfect, and I don't like them when they're not perfect. And the systems that we had in place, they were also not perfect, so they added to the problem, where it was making it easy for things to kind of get to be messy.
Right.
And it was time to not only get things cleaned up, but also like come up with better systems and processes to make sure that this doesn't happen anymore and get things to run more efficiently. And so we did. I researched all kinds of different software packages this year. We made a lot of changes, invested a lot of money, and they're finally up and running. I've gotten through all the trainings. Most of the trainings, I have a couple little things left to button up, but we're at the point now where we're moving the clients into the systems. And so now we're at that point where now that I have somebody that's fully in it and operating, I'm meeting with him, I think tomorrow morning, and I'm going to show him the system, and then I'm going to run all these reports with his stuff, black out anything on his reports that could, tell who it is. But that report is going to end up being my sales paperwork, where I'm going to go to my other clients and be like, look, this is what we're doing now. This is what you can expect. And as we bring on new clients, this is what they can expect. And it's a package that, being accountants are, I talk to a lot of the other firm owners around here. It's similar to dry cleaning. You know what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
None of the firms are doing anything like this. This is a packet. This is a monthly, everybody's doing book work, obviously, and providing financial statements, but nobody's putting together a financial report anywhere like this. And this software allows us to do it without really efficiently. And actually, it's going to end up saving us time on some aspects of our day-to-day, so that the extra work that it's going to take to make it perfect, so that whenever we deliver it to the client, the overall time is hopefully going to actually be less. But the product that we're giving to the client is worth a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
So.
It's funny because recently I had customers that once we did the transition of full delivery, they obviously were like, oh shit, they didn't understand how it was working. They went to another dry cleaners, and we all do things the same. But like we all, like, depending on how your plant's set up is how you hang the stuff on the clothes. And it's like something I just never really thought of. So like for a person that was using me for 5 years or 7 years, they go to another dry cleaners and their shirts are on the hangers the opposite way. It's like a huge inconvenience to them because their fucking closet is set up for my way, and like, they're like, well, fuck it. How's this home delivery work? I need to get back on this.
Yeah.
And then they've gone to like some other people, and people do like the same shit, but like, it's just, we do things a certain way.
Yeah.
And like, I actually talked to another guy that owns a dry cleaners today, and he's probably the best dry cleaner in Pittsburgh, like, per se. Like, he's just that, like, his clothes are just, everything he does is like meticulous.
Okay.
And on a very good scale, but he's a mom and pop shop kind of guy. And we were talking, and I was like, I think that we're the only ones that notice the difference. Like, as a dry cleaner, you notice much more than like if I took a shirt from my place and his place, you wouldn't notice.
Right.
But I would notice.
Yeah.
And both are great products. But like, you get to that point, but like what you're doing here is like, it's not the same. It's different. It's totally different. It's a game changer in your field, which is kind of fun to be around. Like that's the shit that makes it a business go from, 150 clients to 350 clients.
Yep.
So, and then the other thing with that is like, you start to feel like you're proud of it. So now you'll sell it better. You know what I mean? Like, cause in our business, I'm the salesman, you're the salesman. Like, if you're standing behind your shit, it's your shit now. Like, and you believe in it.
And when you do things like this and you kind of take ownership of it again, you get excited about it again. Now I'm excited that I have this new product that's going to set us apart from these other firms that I get to go out and talk to people about.
Right. And you said you were in the weeds, but you were doing exactly what you wanted to do because you got to know it first. You know
I needed to know exactly, because what I am trying to accomplish with this. So the guy I picked is a guy that we do some more complicated steps with, that, he's a manufacturing client, and we separate a lot of his payroll and his rent and his utilities. We allocate it to direct labor and direct and indirect expenses on his profit and loss statement, so that we can calculate a solid cost of goods sold number. And we track his books in greater detail than a lot of clients because a lot of clients don't demand it like he does because he's been in the business so long. So when we started, we legit sat down and went through the chart of accounts, and he's like, this is how I want to see this because he's been in the business. He knew when he started this company how he wanted to be able to see it to make sure that what he's manufacturing, he was going to be able to make a profit on it. He knew how to do it. He's doing very well. So I knew that there's a lot of steps that we have to do for this client. So I thought, I'm going to use this client because this is a perfect way to train this, because anybody else, it's just going to be like, okay, well, we don't need to do these steps. But I don't want to start with this little client and then say, okay, well, for him, we have to do all this other stuff. I wanted to start with the big one, right? So I wanted to go through the process of everything first. I wanted to go through the journal entry. I wanted to go through all the calculations, the reconciliation, how it's going to look in all the software packages and everything. And then I also went through it with the thought process of, okay, so, when I first did it, I'm running his payroll report. All right, so I'm going to do a journal entry. I'm going to do this, and I'm handwriting it. And I'm like, I can't handwrite it because I know what I'm doing, and I can train one more person to do this, but this is very labor intensive, right? And if I'm not available and that person's not available, then somebody else has to know what all this chicken scratch means. So I'm going to build a spreadsheet. And I built a spreadsheet with equations that basically you pull these numbers from the report and it gives you it gives you the journal entry. And
they don't have training like on board with the software? They
do, but that's the thing with accounting and bookkeeping is that every client's a little different.
Right.
And for this client and the journal entry that we're talking about is not necessarily it's not necessarily how to use the software that I'm training. It's how we're taking his payroll, and he's got, say 20 people on payroll, and 15 of them are working in the production facility, and one of them is a secretary, and a couple of them are officers.
So they know where to apply.
And I break it up on the profit and loss statement so that he knows what's direct labor and administrative labor and officer salary and this and that. So, and we break it down even to the payroll taxes. And then we're also, something that we've done that the software, because our payroll software pre-funds, as you know. So like your payroll taxes come out all at one time. But then when the books happen, your payroll taxes and your wages, but that's not really correct. It should be going to a payables account and then coming back into the P&L. And, so we're starting fresh, we're starting clean, let's do it right. So this journal entry does all that. So I made it so like every step of the way, I'm like, okay, let's just build a system and build a process to make do it right.
When I would do the installs for the point of sale, because I did some installs for my point of sale company around the area, and a lot of times business owners want to manipulate the software to make it work for them. And I'd be like, stop doing that. Like figure out how this software works and use it. And if it needs manipulated, then you contact them and allow them to manipulate. Because like if you're just like using it as a crutch all the time, you're never really truly using it.
Correct.
So like I have just like let my point of sale run the business. And yes, there's times where things fall through the cracks or like the computers are down or like, but I feel like that percentage of times is way better than like us like text messaging notes to the counter girl or like just go through the software, deal with the software, deal with this AI kind of system.
Yeah. And I've seen that a million times with restaurants and other companies that use software packages like that, where they'll do their own spreadsheet to calculate payroll, or they'll do all this. Oh, I do it this way, or I do it this way to do sales tax. But dude, there's a report in there. Use that. Well, if I do it that way, no, change. It's designed in the software the right way.
Right.
So sometimes if it doesn't work with your business, the hard thing for some business owners to hear is you might be doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe the people that wrote this software for every other fucking dry cleaner in the country may have a
They're
better
onto
clue.
something.
They may be onto something.
Yeah, they're
here.
onto something.
So maybe you should take a step back and go, if I did it this way, that would just fucking work. It would save me probably hours a month worth of extra stupid work.
Dude.
Work around it.
It was so funny to watch because like a lot of people in the dry cleaning business are older, and they have these computers they're from the future and they don't know. Well, the one lady was like pissed, the one owner, and she was just like throwing a fit. And I was like, what is going on? She was like, she's pissed off no one's training her as she's like back there pressing shirts and wouldn't leave pressing shirts. I was like, all right. Well, I went in and shut her boiler off. She was like, we don't have any steam. I'm like, now get your ass up here and fucking learn how to use the computer because I'm not sitting around all night. Like I got my own dry cleaners to go press shirts at. Like I'm here for you right now. And, but yeah, there was a lot of pushback against stuff like that. So it's interesting to see like,
it's all the time. I see it all the time.
And you're going to see it now with like your clients. But that's not what it used to look like. Where do I find that? And they'll get over it.
Yeah.
You just got to trust the process.
Yeah.
So if not, you just build a big fucking Ferris wheel. It's all broke. When it's all broke down and not figured out,
Need
you
a
just
Ferris wheel.
build a Ferris wheel, right?
Yeah. Do you think the Ferris wheel will be discounted for the affordable housing folks that are living
No,
there?
the Ferris wheel is the affordable housing.
That's where they live.
After 8 o'clock at night,
They just stay on it.
rooms by the hour. Yeah, no, that's really gotten. I mean, because this is episode 54. We talked about this development, like when they were planning
Yeah, I
this.
think we were talking about the proposal, and then
Right.
it just got approved this week.
And somebody with a lot of power and a lot of money's behind this
Ferris wheel.
because it is fast tracking. It
It's
is.
been- yeah, it's been a
it is
couple
going to be
months at
built
most.
next spring. It'll be done by the draft in 26.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing. So for people that don't know what the hell we're talking about,
That don't follow Ferris wheels.
Or awesome enough.
the city of Pittsburgh just approved the major development that's supposed to happen on the North Shore by the casino, where they're going to put up.
Is it by the casino?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it was further upstream.
no, it's by like the Science Center and the casino.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all there. It's brownfield now, so it's all just kind of vacant land.
Brownfield.
But it's going to have what they say 100 and some condos, a 13-story hotel, a giant Ferris wheel.
Which is only fitting because the Ferris wheel was invented in Pittsburgh.
Was it?
Yeah. Found that out when they put one on the bridge.
I didn't know that.
They had a Ferris wheel on the Clemente Bridge
yeah.
or whatever. And then they said that it was invented here.
I didn't know that.
So
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. It's going to add to the beauty and charm of the city skyline, and I think it's great. Pyatt, I guess, has got the contractors doing the development.
Is he doing
He's
the
got
whole
own the
development?
hotel.
yeah, he did. They were involved in the Top Golf development. They did that.
Did they?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think they're publicly traded at this point, right?
Is he? I don't know.
Yeah. Pyatt is.
Yeah, it's going to be great for the city. I thought, I don't know. I not that I have any qualms about affordable housing. I thought that it was strange. Part of the proposal was that 20% of the housing is going to be earmarked for affordable housing.
Yeah, I think that's part of like all those projects, though. And then somehow it'll fade.
You think it'll fade?
Yeah, it's
I
like the
Did the
wetlands.
Penguins ever build
Dude,
their thing that they were supposed to?
I think that died, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like
they
they still
didn't
got
build
their,
anything in the
they got
hell.
PPG Arena, but they don't.
They didn't the Civic Arena was
They're
supposed,
supposed to be a
developed.
supermarket and Section
Yeah, that's
8.
right.
There's a First National
And
Bank.
it just got swept under the
Yeah,
rug.
that's the First National Bank's on that property
Yeah.
now, right?
So it's like the wetlands for the ducks. Like you ever hear whenever they run into those problems, like they'll have a home site going in and they'll come out and they'll walk through it and they'll be like, well, there's 3 acres of wetlands that can't be disturbed here. And they're like, well, we bought 3 acres of wetlands over near Philadelphia, so plow this motherfucker down and turn that into a preserve,
Yeah, I just think I don't know. I don't know how you take somebody that's going to pay full price for one of those condos and then put them next to somebody that's going to pay a discounted price because
Yeah, it
they
doesn't make
qualify for affordable
I mean, their
housing.
heart's in the right place. I get it. They don't want to like push North Side people that have been there for generations out.
They don't care.
But there's nothing in this.
Look at the strip.
I think what they're worried about is like.
Look at the strip district. They've completely
look at Lawrenceville.
raped that area.
I mean, it's in the way of progress. There is no man. It's just progress, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'd be cool. Like you said, like, that's already a great area, like riding your bike from Millville down into there and like
that's
past
cool.
the casinos and stuff. So,
I think a Ferris wheel's lame.
Yeah, I mean,
think
zip line from Mount Washington.
I mean, do you like going on them? They're boring as shit. And
Dude,
it takes up a ton of space.
I feel like that if Pittsburgh's involved, this fucker's going to break down.
Yeah.
I'll be stuck at the top. And I'll be living my nightmare.
Did you hear, I guess when the news, when it was on the Clemente Bridge, the news was on the Ferris wheel and they were doing like a special. But the wireless mics that they had, I guess they have the same mics we use, right?
Hey.
Cut out at the top.
They cut out at the top. So like they'd be talking and then they'd be back.
Yeah, I mean, I watch a lot of sports, so it's always cool when they like do the broadcast and like
it's gonna look great on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, it'll be all lit up and pretty and
Next to Heinz Field and all that. It's gonna look awesome. They'll light it up. It's gonna be great for the draft.
Yeah.
So the draft is not, but it's not. Draft isn't 25. It's 26.
Yeah, I screwed this up last week too.
So is this going to be done for the draft in 26?
Yeah, I would imagine.
So it'll be all next year.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I guess you got to keep doing something. You can't just let it sitting vacant. But like, where are you going to tailgate for the Browns game now?
Well,
up cart 5.
Is this going to take away?
5.
I read through that. I read through the article. I mean. What's there now? They said it was brownfields. It's not parking lots or anything like that. Is it literally just riverfront?
I think it's riverfront.
Yeah, I think it's the graded lot behind the casino coming from the north. Like there's that gravel lot that's expansive. They park there. There's cars parked there for the casino employees, I think, can park there.
Okay.
But I would assume that there's definitely tailgating going on there. So, but hey,
well, now they can tailgate next to the Ferris wheel. They can ride the Ferris wheel.
That's what I mean. Get your hibachi set up in cart 5 and go around.
You're not allowed to have large scale tailgates anymore.
What do they consider large scale?
So, organized tailgate of over that is not allowed anymore.
When did they do that?
Over the weekend.
Huh.
The company that Alco, I believe.
Yeah. That's Allegheny County.
Yeah.
Oh.
The No Fun League.
Yeah, they've broken up the terrible tailgate.
All
other ones. Yeah, they had to move.
Well, is that because a lot of those tailgates were charging an entry?
I don't know. I know they charge, and then they started bringing in
like DJs and
Antonio Browns.
Yeah, so I think that might be their bitch mode is about that. Like, you're going to use my parking lot.
And make
hold an event.
And you're going to hold an event. You're going to charge $20 a person and rope it off. That's probably what they're trying to cut down on.
Probably, yeah.
If you're just tailgating with a DJ, like Matt Light's kind of like walk up, come one, come all.
Okay.
He might still be safe. But like if you're roping it off like VIP.
Yeah, that's probably not okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I could get that.
Yeah, that'd be like me putting up like a lemonade stand.
Plus, if you're making money.
They want their cut.
They want their cut, first of all. Second of all, there's probably a liability issue.
Yeah.
Because you're making a profit now on their money, on their lot. And they're taking all this risk, and you're essentially selling alcohol on their lot.
Right. And then one thing that I always thought was cool, Steeler games, there was guys in an old GMC pickup truck, Iron City truck, and they came down and they gave out free beer.
Oh.
Free Iron City, free Icy Lights, dude. It was like 3 guys that worked at the old brewery. They did it for years. They're probably still doing it, but I just...
Now they have to drive from Creighton.
Yeah, and I went to the game with my kids, so I wasn't seeking out any free beers, but it's a little different vibe with 2 eyes looking after 4 eyes, you know?
Yeah.
But it was different down there. And the parking garages, and like, it's different. It's not like it was back in the day.
No, Triple Deuce is long gone.
So we're recording this before the Steelers-Ravens game. This is going to go live after the Steelers-Ravens game.
Yeah.
Steelers win by 50-100.
50-100.
So the Steelers are sitting, what, at 7-2 right now?
Yeah, they'll be 8-3 by the time we sit back in this couch.
They're going to play 2 games.
They're 7-2.
You just said
that would be
8-3.
2 games.
I'm not coming back. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I'm fucking my
You
man.
skipping a week?
Dude, no, I'm never been accused of being the accountant in this room, all
Joe,
right?
yeah, Joe doesn't keep the books.
So you think it'll be 7-3?
No, I
Or
think they'll be
8-2.
8-2.
Do you think you're gonna beat the Ravens?
I think they'll beat the Ravens. Yeah, I think that the bus keeps moving forward. I think that I don't know if you guys watched the press conference with Tomlin on Tuesday, but he kind of took some shade and threw it at Dante Johnson.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I enjoyed that a little
And
bit.
the shade was thrown at him because he's like the water boy, that coach that was afraid of the more powerful coach, and that's Harbaugh, dude. He tries to like outthink Tomlin, and it goes back forever. Like Harbaugh went for 2 against Ben's team, like went for 2. They were dominating the whole second half. He had no reason to go for 2 with like no time left. He goes for 2 because he wants to like stick it to Tomlin, and he just loses the game. Like it's just always that way.
Yeah,
If they win though, if they win, Jackson wins because he hasn't played great against the Steelers, but he's played great against everybody else.
yeah.
So
Except for the Browns. They shit the bed against
They
the Browns.
did,
didn't
yeah.
they?
That was a little odd.
yeah, it'll be fun to watch that game. I mean, I just am bummed out that it's at 1:00 on a Sunday. I feel like prime time's where that needs
Vinny's
to be.
excited. He's like, he hasn't gotten to watch a Steeler game in a little bit. Well, I guess he watched.
Dude, I
some of
forgot
this
his jersey. I have it though. It came out sweet again.
one. Did it? Of course it did. Shout out Duro Cleaner.
You can't put stains on a Watt jersey, dude. You can't even hold that jersey. Wait, no. He gets held all the time. It's depressing. I feel bad for him watching the games. I'm
know.
like,
Yeah, could you imagine just
yeah,
not
because
being
like,
able to do your job?
right now, he's getting shit on because like he didn't have any sacks. I'm like, he was held 90%
He
of the
basically
time.
was tackled like 70% of the plays.
And he still gets home. Like, it's weird. Like, that play against the Redskins in the end zone, he was getting held and still fucking hammered him in the back of the end zone. So, huck chuck football, boys.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good time to be a Steeler fan.
I hate to be optimistic because I feel like every time I'm optimistic about the Steelers or Pitt,
That's the Pitt fan in you, bro.
they lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Steelers typically have the Ravens' number. Harbaugh has a hard time against Tomlin, and Lamar has a hard time against the Steelers.
Yeah, it just seems like the Steelers carry the script in this game because if they want to run the ball and they want to pound it down your throat, then Baltimore will be like, well, fuck you, we run it better. And they'll run the ball and try to pound it down our throat. And it's traditional. Like, even King Henry has never, I don't remember him ever being a game breaker against the Steelers. Spillane almost killed him.
That's right. Yeah, that did happen.
And like, I just feel like a Landon Roberts is going to kill him.
He's having
The
a good
Ravens'
season.
secondary's been struggling a lot. So I think with
Well, that's the cat and mouse game because the Steelers are going to want to, like, if he wants to run the ball against them, that's not the play, dude. Unfortunately,
no, we got to throw. We got to
throw the
throw
ball.
against them. But with
dangerous.
Pickens and with Mike Williams learning the playbook a little bit this week, maybe he'll get a little bit more playing
I'll go
time.
with this. I will make one prediction that we can go back and look at.
All right.
Pickens gets ejected.
Ejected?
Adds to his lore
Okay.
This week. You
this
think he's
week
getting
against the
ejected?
Ravens. He's going to get
Joe with
tossed.
a hot take.
I think that the league's been watching the way he's been acting. He's on a short leash in a rowdy environment. And I think that he's an impact player, but I think then he gets ejected.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he did elbow drop somebody a couple weeks ago. He tackled a cornerback last week.
UFC style, like,
Yeah,
tackled him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
headlock.
Yeah.
You gonna watch the Mike Tyson fight?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's your prediction for that, Joe?
Tyson's fucking him up. One shot, done.
I don't know if it was
So every
one
other
shot.
Tyson fight I've ever been excited for
He's
has
pushing
ended.
60, bro.
Doesn't matter. That
Doesn't
right
matter.
hand's coming.
I
Have you
mean,
seen
I
him?
hope so.
You can't
but
teach that.
He also fought Roy Jones a couple years ago, and that went the limit.
Yeah, I think that.
So I don't think it'll be a one shot. I think it'll go. I think it's going to go for a little bit, but I mean, I've seen him train. I've seen the videos
Yeah, I
of him
wouldn't
training.
take a punch from the guy now.
That dude's a monster, even at almost pushing 60. My money's on Tyson.
Okay.
You ever see like the old man in a bar fight that just still has it? It's not
Sure.
because he still physically has it. It's because his mental capacity
Yeah.
for this. Like he
He's not
never
gonna quit.
feels more like Mike Tyson than when he's in a ring. Like he needs that in his
Yeah.
life. That's the only reason he's
Yeah.
doing it.
Did you ever watch?
That and 20 million.
Yeah, that'll help. Too.
I'd take a fucking right hook from Mike Tyson for 20 fucking K right now.
Paul's getting 40 million.
Yeah, well, let's get fucking Tyson in here. And
Yeah, I'm good.
I'll take a right hook.
I
20K.
don't want to be around
Oh,
that
yeah.
guy. That guy's
These are already fake, bro.
For 10 grand?
I'd
not
do it for 10.
10. Not
You
for
would.
10.
Fuck yeah. Think about the ratings we'd get.
Well,
We would
yeah.
get some
10
savings.
grand and a lot of views. I'm a team player here.
What about 5 grand? You're going to the hospital, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to need dental work.
Dude,
Can you
they're
put-
already
You're
fake,
talking,
bro.
put some
I
mats
know, but
underground?
like, you're going to have your face smashed.
Could you get some mats for the floor because you're gonna? I'd be more worried about you smacking.
Your
your
They
name
would
head
be
on the
like, you
floor.
better not fucking bleed on my carpet.
5 grand?
Yeah, I'd do it for 5 just because.
Would you do it for
I'd be
1,000,
honored.
Joe?
I might do it for free for the clicks and the.
So if we get the strongest
Wouldn't it
guy
be
in
awesome?
Pittsburgh to just come
No,
pop,
not him. It would be
it's
just
got to
awesome.
be Tyson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I could say to you, dude, come hang out. 2 grand, you get to meet Mike Tyson in
Yeah.
an intimate setting. You're in for 2. We got 2 more seats. I'm making at least 6.
All right.
No, I would like to meet that dude just because I think he just did it his way. You know, like he never cared. Like
Did you ever watch? Did you watch when he was on Rogan's podcast for the first time?
Not the first, I don't know.
So he was like out of shape. He wasn't training. He was done. And Rogan asked him, "Are you going to get back to training? Are you going to get back in the gym?" And he's like, "Nah, I can't." He's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Because I'll get obsessed and I'll end up back in the ring.
Well.
Like I can't even train without becoming absolutely obsessed.
He's a different
and I'll lose
beast.
it again." And he started training again. And he's back. But no, I don't think he'll quit. I mean, I think he'll bite his ear off before he quits.
yeah. I think also
It's
that
a business lesson in there because he went broke at the height of his fame.
and I think that he does this now, and it's not as pure as whenever he was fighting like Riddick Bowe, like
But,
Vander Holyfield. Like
yeah.
I feel like this has more of a WWF vibe to it.
It does, yeah. I mean, you
know.
could see the promos that they're recording. This is not. I mean,
They're not out to kill. Like he's not out to kill him, but he is a killer, dude. Like he.
I don't think he wants to tarnish his legacy by losing to a YouTuber.
Yeah, but $20 million. Who cares about your legacy?
Yeah, I think he does.
Yeah, I think he does.
Dude, some of those early interviews with him. Like, no, isn't Ocho Cinco fighting?
I heard about that.
James
Is that
Harrison?
actually going to happen? Because that's a mismatch.
A terrible
It's
decision.
like an 80-pound mismatch.
Yeah, but I think Ocho thinks like he's a boxer. Like a lot of these guys, like Lev
Yeah,
Bell
but,
thinks he's
I
a
mean,
boxer.
Well,
Lev Bell knocked out Adrian Peterson.
he did knock him out.
If James Harrison landed one punch on Ocho Cinco, he's down.
Yeah, I mean, are you taking a punch from James Harrison? Because we may
I don't
be
know,
able to-
Nate. Run the numbers. What would the views look like on that?
In Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I'm
pretty
sure
high.
you'd have just as, you wouldn't have the national.
I would
get a-
definitely take a shot from him wearing a fucking James Harrison jersey.
I don't know if he could hit you then.
Yeah,
Like, take that off. I
yeah.
don't want you to bleed on my jersey.
He's a good dude. I mean, he's the same way though. That gym mentality. Like some guys have
Yeah.
it, some guys don't.
Yeah.
I certainly don't. Like
That dude's way more jacked now than he was in the
yeah,
NFL.
he's just has that like prove it mentality of like, and he does it all day long. It's got to be a tough mental game to live. But I mean, his thing is the gym's like his dry cleaner, his accounting firm. You know, like we do things to better ourselves in that world.
Yeah.
They could give a shit less.
Yeah.
But, I mean, these guys nowadays, so like every play, they for some reason the Shazier hit has been like surfacing on my feed every once in a while.
Oh.
And I watch that and think about like that game had it all. Like actually 2 people were carted off the field that game.
Yeah.
Because Burfict got carted off too.
Oh, yeah.
But every play in the NFL nowadays looks like someone should be
Who hit
carted off.
Burfict that? Was that?
Juju.
That's when Juju hit him.
Yeah. But like every play in this league looks like they should be done. So that's always like the unique like business, like they're making a business decision every day they go out there to play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can see that. Like I last year when speaking of Deontay Johnson, there was a couple plays where he was kind of like just wandering around.
Yeah.
I was talking to my brother and I'm like, what is he? And he's like, dude, his body's his bag of money. If he's not in the play, he's not going to take a hit.
Yeah, but usually that's when you get hurt, when you're half-assing it out there.
Yeah.
Because that, like the other guy's just as fast and knows you're half-assing.
Yeah.
It's a weird, hey, it's the biggest sport and the biggest business in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and they've proved it every Sunday. They'll scrape someone off that field.
Do you think we can get press passes for the draft?
I'm shooting right now for Groundhog Day, dude.
Yeah.
We're going to do Media Row.
I'm saying we should
do
go
that
big.
in the U.S. Open.
I want to go big.
Those are our
Me,
bucket
you,
lists.
Mel Kiper, and Double A
Yeah.
live on the
We
set.
get to meet Kuiper. That'd be cool.
I would take a right fucking hook and a left uppercut from that motherfucker for free and send two
Yeah,
back.
he's not knocking people out.
In the sports world, though, he's built a brand for himself. And then, like I was watching Kirk Herbstreit's dog passed away. Like,
Yeah.
these guys are like household names. Like,
There's a big game day show in LSU
was that down there?
down there.
Diner. Was that the McAfee? Ooh.
Yeah. And played neck, and
We won't say that on here because
there's a famous chorus line that the Tigers have.
how did you become such an LSU fan?
My mom lived in Louisiana for a time period. SEC football is better than any other conference.
It's almost better than the NFL at some point.
There was a period where an SEC team won the championship like 11 years in a row when we were growing up. So that kind of. And I wasn't a big Alabama fan, just never like picking the front runner. So I picked their rival, and it's just kind of grown
Yeah.
over 20 years or so.
It was fun watching Ryan Clark coming out of LSU.
I kind of liked Penn State, but then they started raping people, and that turned me off there. I guess they were always raping people. We just found
They
out
might
about it
still
later.
be raping people.
They could be.
It's
And they'll reach out to us, I'm sure.
We're going to have
Have
one.
your people call our people.
You know how many people are going to be in the comments with just "we are"?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're going to get over.
We are second place to Ohio State.
Do you
every
think we could get Joe Pa's
They are,
statue?
yeah.
Let's
For
figure
in
out
the
where
studio.
it is.
it
Let's
right
try
here.
to buy it because it's not being used.
I don't think I want it. I'm all good.
We'll put it out front, Jerry. You don't have much out there yet.
We'll hang a lantern
Yeah.
like he's Paul Revere.
Oh man.
And now a brief word from our sponsor.
This episode of Between Two Bridges is sponsored by Paymark Payroll. Are you tired of spending countless hours juggling payroll calculations, tax filings, and compliance regulations? Well, say goodbye to that chore and let Paymark Payroll take the burden off your shoulders. With our secure online portal, you can access your business information from any internet location, even your phone. Employees will love the ability to receive direct deposits, and they can access all their pay stubs, tax forms, and information through their own portal. Focus on growing your business while we take care of the rest. With top-notch customer support, we're always here to assist you with anything, at any time. Don't let payroll stress hold you back. Choose Paymark Payroll and experience the freedom to thrive. Contact us at payyourpeople.com for a personalized consultation and a demonstration of our powerful payroll solutions and see how Paymark Payroll can better your workflow. That's payyourpeople.com. Join the growing list of satisfied businesses that have embraced the convenience and efficiency of Paymark. Payday made easy. Your business deserves nothing less than the best, and that's exactly what Paymark Payroll delivers. Now back to the show.
There was an article, a few players have taken their contracts in Bitcoin.
Oh yeah,
And
Bitcoin's cruising right now.
Yeah, at almost 90,000, right?
as of this show, it was 91.5 when I
Really?
walked in. So
Is it going to
Is
hit
that
100?
the Elon factor? Like, is Elon's
it's certain,
involved.
I think,
He's progressive.
yeah, he's getting involved in the government, it
They're
seems.
making his own. He's
Oh,
going to have his
he's,
own cabinet.
Well, they announced yesterday or today that him and Vivek,
Quality control.
I don't know how to say his last name, Ramaswamy, whatever.
Yeah, that's close.
Pastrami.
Pastrami.
They're going to head up the
Genoa Salami.
Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, which is
There you go,
a
DOGE.
new government agency, but it already has an expiration date of July of 2026, which is the 250-year anniversary of 250, 350,
United States.
1776 to 2026.
250.
You forgot
250,
you forgot your
250
laptop.
year anniversary. So that was the idea. So July, that's when that agency expires. So so the whole idea was they don't want to create another government agency. The whole idea is to create a government agency to slash every other government agency that will then go away.
Like he did at Twitter. He got rid of 70% of the workforce
Yeah.
and made it better.
Yeah. You
Before
heard
it-
this.
Yeah,
You
he
heard
cut
the
the
story
server
about cutting the
cords.
server
Yeah.
cords. I honestly don't know if there's a better guy for the job.
No, yeah.
I mean, he's gonna slash.
Well, I've
so-
thought that for years. Like, how do you take a guy that was like a local magistrate, and then a state rep, and then the assistant governor, then the governor, and then the senator? You know, like there's this progression of politics that goes on forever, and then they're in D.C. and they've never held a real job. They've never run a company.
Right.
They've never had to make a payroll or
Right.
send a rent check. And they're telling
powerful.
everybody, you know, so like that's like always been my thing.
And here's the other angle of it too. When you have the government that in some cases kind of create the problems, but let's leave that for another episode. But the government comes in to solve a problem. So then they hire people to solve the problem. What incentive does that person have to solve the problem?
Yeah, what was FDR?
Because
he said
they're getting paid to solve the problem. There are people in California that their jobs are to handle the homeless crisis that are making healthy six-figure salaries every year, and it's getting worse every year. But what incentive do they have to actually fix it? Because they're just going to eliminate their own jobs.
yeah, there's no money in the cure.
So when you set up an agency that has an expiration date, you have an amount of time, and then this goes away. So, you know, you want another job after
interesting.
that's over, you better do a good job at this one, and
Right.
then you're done. But you have a guy like Elon Musk, he doesn't need a fucking job. No. You know, he's going to go in, he's going to get the job done, he's going to go on his merry way.
Well, yeah, he's
But that's, I guess the question is why.
his motivation is he needs it to be a better America.
I think
Because-
he needs it for his companies to be
Absolutely,
a better,
like
a more
if he's selling
unrestricted-
$60,000 four-door sedans
yeah,
that people need money to buy, and there's no money to buy them. Like if he were to move the bottom line, then the $60,000 car becomes a $10,000 car. Everybody can afford a Tesla then.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that there are definitely people out there saying that this is all to benefit himself, right? And I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think that there's probably, for sure, there's some benefit to him that he's going to get out of this. But at the same time, there was another party that he could have backed that was all about EVs.
yeah,
Right.
And they were the ones that have been pioneering this no more internal combustion motors after 2035, all the extra tax credits, tax incentives on electric vehicles. He could have very easily hitched his wagon to that party and just raked in more gravy from that. So
It's a good point.
I think it's a patriotic thing.
I think it is, and I think that I mean, there's people on the right now that are coming out and saying that him purchasing Twitter was the game changer for freedom of speech in this country.
Right. I also think that like he's so intelligent that like you ever like have been in a room and it's like you know that there's something wrong, but you don't know how to change it and you're probably not smart enough to figure it out, so you kind of just go with the flow of the crowd. He's so smart that he knows the problems. Like he's intelligent enough, like he absorbs information.
That's why I don't think it stops at Tesla for him. I think he's thinking bigger than that. I think he wants to be on Mars. So that throws out the whole, let me hitch it to Democrats. Let me get all of the regulations out of place so that I can build a fucking spaceship, or I don't know. You know, we don't know what he knows.
And internally grateful to the country too, because he did an interview when Tesla was first coming out, and he spent a lot of money in SpaceX. He was broke.
Yeah,
he didn't have a fucking dime. He was like gonna fold, and then he won the contract from NASA, and they injected money into his program, and it saved everything for him. So like for a guy that's that smart, that could see where he could take a business, and he needed that to get to the next level.
And he
might be internally grateful to the United States of America, just patriotic.
He could be, or he could be looking at this as a long game as, hey, listen, I want to be the guy that helped balance the budget because I want to continue this SpaceX thing, and I need to be the first person that people think about whenever it comes to grants for space exploration.
Right.
And,
I mean, how I guess let's tie it to us. Like, you just rolled out a program, you just rolled out a new office. Like, what kind of vision do you guys have? Is this a short-term thing? Are you thinking longer term?
For our businesses or for the government
For
stuff?
yours, specifically.
Mine's long-term.
Mine's long-term.
Yeah, there's no way to retire. Like, we've talked about it before. Like, if I retire from the dry cleaners, there's no 401k. There's no, you know. So to me, it was
What's the next step then? Like, if let's compare you to Elon, he's hitching up with Trump. Like,
well, I'm going to call Trump next week, let him get settled in, you know, and we'll go from there. But I think my next step now is I just need to start hiring people.
Okay.
But like the right people.
Yeah.
And then get out and keep pushing my agenda of like, there's some things that we have in the pipeline, rebranding and stuff like that.
Do you have like the profit to pull that off now, or are you still?
We have, because the big investment's already been made, right? So the equipment's there.
Yeah.
The building's there.
Yeah.
We're secure there. And a lot of it's just about what I've learned and what I want to do and implementing. There's not a big cost in like going out and me trying to sell what I've done to now.
Yeah.
It's about getting the people in place, because the last thing you want to do, especially like in a quality driven business, is oversell
and then deliver
a shit product. And then, because you only have one time to make a first impression.
Have the bottom fall out.
Yeah. Like, it's a big thing of showing up when you say you're going to show up, you know?
Yeah.
So, and that's what I need to be more flexible is like, when I schedule a meeting to like work for a high rise, I can't not show up on time.
Right.
And right now, like, without having the staff, there's days where like I go in the morning and I'm like, fuck, I can't get away from this press still. I'm like still stuck there. But
yeah, I'm thinking long-term vision, because we're at a point where the lack of efficiency here has us capped, where our labor costs have gotten to the point where it's not really sustainable to just keep hiring more people to do more work, right?
Yeah.
So in order to be able to grow anymore, I've got to fix the processes and clean things up on the day-to-day so that we can get through the work that we're doing, deliver a better product to the client, set ourselves apart from our competition so that we can price more effectively against our competition. I don't want I don't want to necessarily be in a place where I have to beat everybody else in price.
Yeah.
I want to be better than everybody else in price or in service and product, so that, because I don't necessarily want the client that's just shopping prices.
Yeah.
I want the client that's like, I want to go there because look at the information that I get from this guy. Like, this is where I want to build my business with.
Yeah.
That's the client that I want to work with. And by fixing the efficiencies, building better systems, I can continue to grow, bring on more clients without exponentially increasing my staffing. So I'm trying to
get very efficient to be able to scale.
Right.
Right. And then it goes back.
Scale at this
like,
point.
would you rather do $1 million $1 tax returns or $1 million tax return? You know what I mean? Like, you'd rather be like more like, and that's what we're trying to lean into is like, we want to be more couture. You know, we want to be more trust us with your high-end clothing. I mean, I appreciate all the people that have given me like Kmart shirts to this point, but like that doesn't fit what I'm trying to do anymore.
Yeah, I think as an owner, and like one of the reasons I'm into it is for the margins. I think I can be more efficient than some others. I'm not going to go out and set the world on fire, but I think the projects that I do take on, I can be very efficient with.
Yeah, I think like in what you're trying to do is you could either continue to do that and be profitable, or you could buy another truck and hire another Jimmy and another truck and another Joe, and then now you just open yourself up to a world of fucking headache. And then you look at your profit margin.
I certainly don't want to be. We've talked about it. I don't want to necessarily be on the day-to-day, installing the rest of my life. But I said, like to Jerry's point, I need to understand how it all works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest downfall I see with people in your industry is understanding how to price a job.
Yeah.
And it goes to that same thing. You don't necessarily need to compete with everybody else, because not everybody knows how to price a job. And there's a lot of people out there losing money. Mm-hmm. And if you're paying your guy $20 an hour, you need to be charging $50 or $60 an hour for that guy.
Right.
And if you're not, you're losing money.
Yeah.
And even if you're not losing money, you're not making enough to make it worth your time.
Right.
And, looking at it in that perspective, if you're going out and you're bidding jobs and you're getting every one of them, your prices aren't high enough.
Right.
If you're, it's okay to be told no. Oh, your prices are high. Yeah, I get it. I'm not for everybody. But, there's a reason why, I call contractors for stuff and the good ones are booked out 6 months or a year.
Right.
And it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And I have that conversation. I had a client, he's not in construction, but it's a specialty construction actually. And he was showing me something. He's just brand new. And he's doing it for a W-2 job. They're talking about going out and starting a little partnership, him and another guy, doing it on as a side thing and then taking it full time. And he showed me the invoices for a couple of the jobs, and I'm talking to him about it, and I said, okay, well, let's look at this one. And the bill was for like $1,900 or something like that. I said, well, how many hours do you have in on this? And he told me, and I'm like, what are you charging an hour?
Yeah. And
he told me, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't math. He's like, well, we ended up there way more hours, and and then I'm like, do you have material costs on here? And he's like, well, yeah. I said, are you marking up your materials? And he looked at me funny. And I'm like, dude, you can mark up your materials. I mean, if you're buying materials, you can mark that up 10, 15, 20%.
It ain't free to drive to Lowe's.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of your profit too. And then you need to stick with that price. I mean, your estimate at the beginning, if things change, you need to communicate that with your customer and be like, hey, If you change something, there's more money coming.
Right.
And you need to get a change order, and you need to get that signed, and you need to get, I said, you have to understand the rules. You have to understand that like your deposit has to be 33% plus specialty materials. You have to understand that you have to have a contract, and you have to have certain things. And you have to play within the rules. I said, but at the same time, I said, you lost money on this. And he's like, well, we made a little bit. I'm like, how much do you make at your regular job?
Yeah.
And he told me, and I'm like, you lost money then. You could have just worked overtime here.
Right.
You're wasting your time here.
Yeah.
And it's hard for people because when you're starting out in business, you're hungry. You want every bit of work you can get. And then the other thing too is a lot of people, and I have that problem too, is you kind of feel bad. You're like, I don't really want to charge this lady that. I mean, do I really want to I don't want to send a bill for that. So you start like beating yourself up over a bill.
It's like a mental game there.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. That's why credit cards and auto pay is so clutch.
Right.
I just send it.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
But it is because it is and it isn't.
Oh, I've had customers get in the rears with me and like.
Oh, I thought you meant your personal card.
No, yeah, no. Like,
but like
I'll have customers get in the rear and then I start feeling bad for them because I'm like, I start putting that like, and this is what got me over it was I realized that just because I'm broke doesn't mean everybody's broke.
Right.
Right. So like if they had the wherewithal to run up an $8,000 to $1,000 bill for dry cleaning, they're not worried about it.
Yeah.
But then what happened was we have auto pay. So like once a week, credit cards on file, it just gets taken out. And I don't feel bad anymore about people that are declined cards.
Do you call them up or how's
I
that
usually
go?
just shoot them a text, tell them to update their credit card on file, and they do. And as soon as they update the card, it takes the money.
Yeah.
Have you had to like write off a bad account?
We're probably getting there with some people.
Yeah.
It's one of those
You've
things.
never had to do that?
I haven't yet. I have some people that are getting there.
Okay.
That they've ghosted, gone. I just keep it on the book and hope they'll come back around. That's like the worst part of my existence of owning a business is like I always feel like if people owe me money, I'm good. Like, well, they'll pay it. If not, I'll write it off or whatever. But not too many people. It's bigger companies actually that give you the runaround more than anything.
Wild.
I had some clients that are big companies that I just got a check. They hadn't paid since March.
That's 8 months ago.
Yeah. So, but like my options were.
You charge interest?
No, but my options were call them up and say, we're going to not service you.
All right.
I could have called them up 3 months into this.
Kill the account.
And just been like, they'll find someone else.
Yeah.
Or I keep servicing them. And then when I get that check for like $8,000 or $9,000, I feel like, So those are the things when you're in the clear of bills and stuff, you don't worry about too much. But when their bank account starts shrinking, you start paying attention a little bit more.
I guess to go back, so like, Jerry, you've probably seen this, that the people that don't raise their prices probably don't stay in business.
Oh, 100. It's in my industry.
100%.
What do you think, like, is the deciding factor? Is it just
They're
intangibles?
People
or
are afraid. So in the
you
dry
think
cleaning
they're just
industry,
afraid?
yeah, people in the dry cleaners for years and years were like, there's no way you're going to get $2 for a shirt. Just no way.
Just don't even try.
Don't even try because people won't pay it. And then when I bought Doro, he was at $2.25.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a big deal. He was like, I don't even know, When I left Doro, when I left McKnight Road, I was at $5.25.
Well,
Because here's the deal. People will come in and say, well, I can get it for $3.85 up the street. I'm like, yeah, well, go for it. And then after the pandemic, they were closed. And it's like, I used to get my shirts done for $3.85 up the street.
No, he's
like,
out of
well, where's
business.
he at? He's closed. Because it'd be different if I had a summer home in Malibu and like.
You know what I've noticed though? A lot of times in the years that I've been doing this, I'll have a client that'll start a business. He will never get the pricing right. He'll go out of business for one reason or another. Prices aren't right. Spends stupid money on stupid shit, whether it's, had to go buy a brand new truck, or whether he had to buy all kinds of new equipment that he didn't really need, or whatever it is, commingled money, lavish vacations, whatever it is, right? Mm. They never stop and go, man, I fucked that up. It's always something else. It's always somebody else's fault. It's always the economy. It's always the employees. It's always the customers. But most of the time, and a lot of times it sucks, and I try not to do this because I've been wrong. I don't know everything, but there's times where I'll sit down with a client and they'll come up and they'll have an idea, or I'll meet with a client that calls me and I'm thinking, this isn't going to work. And a lot of times it doesn't work. And when I first started out, I had a client that came to me, and I'm not going to blast them because they're local and they're gone. They went out of business.
Dude, you can tell them my story. Go ahead. It's fine.
I don't know your story. I don't know what you're talking about, but it wasn't you. But the businesses they were in, the business was changing. It was an industry that wasn't really existing anymore.
Okay.
And I'm like, I think it's time to change what you're doing here. People aren't getting this done anymore. So, well, I'll say what it is because I won't say the company, but it was a TV repair company.
Okay.
And I'm like, people aren't getting their TVs fixed anymore.
They're not even stealing TVs anymore.
Like, they're kind of disposable.
Get one. Yeah, you just throw it away.
So you have all this equipment.
Yeah.
You have trucks. You have guys that know how to fix TVs. Why don't you switch to hanging them on the walls and installing TVs and installing home theater equipment and switch to new installations?
Well, we talked about this because you're remote. You fucking
because of the remote.
Fucking remote.
Yeah.
Fancy fucking remote.
They didn't agree. No. And now they're gone.
Keep doing this.
And you can buy a fucking 60-inch TV for $300. Like, nobody's fixing TVs anymore. You throw them in the trash.
Yeah.
That's what you're not supposed to do. They don't even steal TVs anymore.
No.
Like, that was a big thing. Like,
your
TV was stolen. Like, fuck. Now they're like,
if I went home and there was an appliance broken, I would be least upset if it was a television.
My dryer broke at home. And like, I was like,
annoying.
It's time. Well, I told my wife, I said, look, I'm 40. You're 21. If we can't just go out and buy a fucking washer and dryer right now, we need to rethink everything that we're doing right now.
Okay.
Because like we were gonna like try to fix it, and I'm like, just go get it. Let's go get it. So it was kind of cool. Monday she came down. We went to Lowe's. We went to lunch. We went to Lowe's. And I had this big grand plan of getting these new fancy fucking washers, and ended up getting normal washer and dryer. So I'm happy about that though. But like those are the things.
Did they try to sell you?
Nah, they
you by yourself the whole time?
When they walk up to you and you say, I'm good, I own a dry cleaners, they're like, this motherfucker knows everything there is to know about washers.
And
I might as well have walked in with my Maytag hat on.
Like, go give me a dolly and I'll see up front.
But I did spring for the delivery because I felt like
Was it free?
I think the delivery's free, and they would have charged me to take the old ones. But I'm like, they win on that because you could get $30 in scrap for that.
Yeah.
So you pay them $100 and then lose out on a 30. Fresh haircut, something.
Maybe. Not these days.
But that's the problem though. Like, I am not totally cheap, but I am pretty cheap. And when you say about people like taking these lavish vacations and stuff, I laugh because I'd be one of those people out of business if I took if I would take like 3 or 4 vacations next year and trade my truck in on a brand new truck, and it would probably bankrupt my business.
I had this conversation. This is the only year I took a 2-day vacation to Vegas, and that's it.
Didn't you go to Atlantic City?
No.
I thought you went to watch the fights in Atlantic City.
No.
You went to the fights in Vegas.
I went to football game in Vegas.
It was something. It was a fight.
But this is the busiest I've been, and it's the least amount of vacation time I've ever had in my life.
Joe, I don't agree with you.
Well, what?
You'd go bankrupt.
Oh, no, I would figure it out, but...
Because there's a difference. you don't stop. Your personality is a lot like mine, where you would take those debts on, those expenses, those liabilities, and then you just figure it the fuck out.
Yeah. And that's part of buying the building, because now I have somewhere to sit down and figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That, like, when you're renting and you're eating that rent, like, I'd start grooming dogs or something at the cleaners. I got a fucking building. I got water. Allegheny County told me I'm allowed to use a drain. Like, you're right. I'd fucking, detail cars or whatever. But
you go start pounding pavement. You're trying to drum up dry cleaning business or get those lockers in.
We talked about that. And like, I think that's the part of like tearing it down to me was like, all right, you had it like the way you've always seen it. People walk in, drop their clothes off, you eat the shit, you clean the shit, and it's like that. I can't do that forever. So like, that's why we tore it down, to build it back up the way I want it to be. Like, I want the clientele that I want. It's not that I don't want everybody. It's just, I don't need everybody. It doesn't make sense to have everybody. Like, I always told people, like, if you have 2,000 customers to give you 2 shirts, you have 4,000 shirts. I'd rather have 500 customers give me 2, you know what I mean? Do the math. I'm not the math guy in the room, but if they all gave me 20 shirts, I have 10,000 shirts now. And I only have to worry about 500 people. That's 1,500 less phone calls and bullshit. Mm-hmm. And like, the problem is, and like what we're going to do over the next couple months here, is the rebranding is important, because the brand tells them that they can trust you. Yep. And I don't want to do like, not that Joseph A. Banks suits are cheap, but like, I want to see more Armani suits coming through my place, because then people resonate with that. Like, when you bring an employee in, you're like, this is an $8,000 suit. Don't fuck this up, and let me show you how not to. And then they take pride in it. They go home and they tell their siblings, hey, I pressed a suit that was worth $12,000 today, you know, and understanding like how, that's important to me. Like, give the option, because people always look at Pittsburgh as this old mill town. There's a lot of fucking sneaky dudes walking around in some big money clothes around here that don't know where to take it, don't know who to trust. And I want to be that guy. I don't want to just be the, lunchbox going in, banging out shirts. If the girl says, hey, this shirt's going to take me 20 minutes, take 20 minutes. I don't want it to be a constant struggle of like, we have to do 1,000 shirts. Like, that's for the birds, dude. Like, it's no way to live. Like, you want to eat a good steak, right? You go to a good steakhouse. You want a great shirt, you come to me. That's kind of like what
it's the whole quality over quantity thing.
And
trying to find a sweet spot on volume.
Right. I want a guy. I had this story about, there was a high-end clothing store in Pittsburgh, and a guy was proposing to his fiance in Europe, and he had a lucky blue blazer that he bought from him, and he forgot it. And he called the dude and was like, hey, I have this blue blazer. I ordered it from you. I just need it. Like, I'm going to wear it, like, to propose in front of the Eiffel Tower. Like, I need this. And the dude was like, I'll do you one better. Can I get into your house? And the dude from the clothing store was like, I'm not going to sell you a jacket. I'm going to get into your house, go in your garage, I'm going to go into your closet. I'm going to get that exact suit jacket. I'm going to package it up. I'm going to overnight it to you, and you'll have it. And I'm thinking, like, the reason he did that was because he's not selling 20,000 suits.
Yeah.
He's only selling, 2,000 suits a year. And that meant something to me when I heard that story. Like, I would much rather someone call me and be like, hey, Joe, I'm downtown. My suit's a mess. I have a meeting tomorrow. And I would much rather get in my car at 8 o'clock at night and do that and have that guy for life and him not worry about that. You raise your prices a quarter. I want that dude to know, like, be like a concierge dry cleaner, more or less.
Yeah, because that becomes your character.
And it's not new. It's not innovative. I'm not the first person to think like this. They do it in Miami. They do it like all around the country. Like, there's guys that do it like that. That's what I want to get into. And you can't be that if you're staring down the barrel of 1,000 suit jackets on Monday morning.
You're on the production line every day.
Yeah, I mean, everybody will say they can until they can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody will be like, and then they lose that trust. One time, one lapel's fucked up. It's over. And that's what I'm happy about. Like we're not turning out the pieces we used to, but our shit is like I don't have to second guess anything. I'm like, it's perfect. Everything's good. Like I'm pressing all the pants. My girl, like Renee that works for me, she's better than me in every category in the place. And like, I don't ever look at her shirts again. Like they just go out the door. Like she's good. So that's the goal for me for like 2025 is how do I take what we've done here to small scale and then explain to people and get it in front of people for them to understand. And it's only going to take like maybe getting the first half a dozen clients that are like, oh, this is different. Like until they're like, cause then word of mouth will take over because there's not really that option, you know? Yeah. You have Giant Eagle, you have people like Moto cleaners that are like, they're big cleaners. Not that what they do is wrong. It's just not for me. And that's a big thing in life, like in business especially. Like I think we talked about it the other day on the phone. You have this identity of like you are your business, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
Like no one says that I couldn't just leave here tonight and be like, fuck that place. I'm done with that. Like, but I have to figure out a way like here, and that's what's nice about a software because we're going to get a good look at it. This is your nut every month. Yeah. It could be cleaning clothes or fucking scrubbing trucks. But this is your nut, you know? And that goes back to what you're saying, like you wouldn't go bankrupt. We would just figure out the nut and then figure out how to make the nut.
Yep.
I'm getting old though, bro. I don't want to be fucking pressure washing trucks at midnight, dude. I mean, I will, but I really don't want to be up at Home City Ice tonight fucking pressure washing trucks.
Washing yachts.
Yeah, I mean, that's the things that like, you say like people think they found a niche and they're going to fix TVs. You got to be able to pivot and pivot and pivot.
Pivot.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot smarter people than me, and there's a lot of guys in my business that have a lot of years on me. But I don't think they ever set out to be the guy that goes to their friends at the country club and say, "We pressed 10,000 shirts this week." Because there's no pride in that. That's just stamping license plates.
You worked hard.
Yeah, like that's silly to me.
Seems insane.
You know, I think that. We said this before, is like businesses are leaning towards subscription. And if I could get 50 people to sign up for a $500 a month subscription and be all inclusive.
Yeah.
Everything else would be just fucking gravy. But those would be the people that would call me and be like, hey man, I need
France.
I'm in France. Need my shit. Like, I'm on my way, man.
You're getting on a private jet.
Can we write that off? Shoot a commercial?
We talked about that. We can write off a jet. Remember?
Yeah.
Dude, let's shoot a badass commercial.
The problem is you have to have the money to buy the jet.
We'll just rent it. Net jet it. We'll buy like 20.
You have the money to rent it.
I did go down that rabbit hole during28 So you buy billable hours for those.
Yeah.
So like net jets. So I think you get like 200 hours, 28 hours was like 35 grand. But like you then could fly from here to Florida 28 times.
Sure. For 35 grand.
Yeah, that's just one person. So like a family of 4, now you're looking at 35 times
$140,000.
Oh.
Yeah, so like
it's a lot of
28
money.
per person, not
I think it was like
total.
They weren't like just bring all your friends, split it.
Why, that would be I mean, there's one pilot billing the hours.
Yeah, they haven't figured out. Jets aren't cheap. Fuck, motorcycles aren't cheap. Boats aren't cheap. You know why?
I guess.
Because there's no government program that gives you a boat.
Well,
there's no affordable airplanes. No affordable airplane programs.
I saw Spirit went under or is about to go under.
So that's going to be
someone that's not raising prices, right?
That's going to be interesting to see. So the Department of Justice, who does
Transportation?
Transportation.
No, they were trying to merge.
Oh, with like American.
And it was blocked.
Yeah. Federal Trade, I don't know.
Trade Commission, whatever. We should know that.
Fact check it.
Sorry.
So we'll tell you next week.
Yeah, we'll tell you next week. No way I forgot his fucking laptop.
However, it's going to be interesting to see if they can hang on for January, whether Trump will allow that to happen.
That's a good point.
Yeah, everybody's hanging on for January.
We taking a break?
We don't need to take a break. I got wireless mic, bro. I'm not on a Ferris wheel. We're good.
It was blocked by a federal judge.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see.
Justice Department.
The Justice Department, yeah. Whether or not it will end up getting pushed, allowed through. But, so Trump's been announcing his cabinet, some interesting picks.
Oh, you know what was interesting I found out is Susan Wiles, his chief of staff, her dad was Pat Summerall, the broadcaster, sports broadcaster, yeah. So she had some like ties with her dad. She ran some campaigns in Florida and helped some people get elected in Florida, and she's been in that game for a while now, and I'm sure that Trump and Pat Summerall had some conversations over the years. But
I guess he announced Pete Hegseth as the Secretary of Defense. That's going to be interesting. I like that. I like that pick.
Yeah, you guys, we'll see how it all shakes out. I mean, the thing that I was reading in the news this week or last couple of days is in Great Britain, they're slashing post offices. Like,
yeah.
And really? So I did some research on I always felt like the post office has been pulling the wool all over everybody's eyes, especially with all the election shit that's been coming through the mail.
Yeah.
So the other thing I did was I watched Hamilton, and believe it or not, the post office is involved in the U.S. Constitution. So Ben Franklin created the post office, and the Constitution protects it, and we are not to inject any tax-paying dollars into the Postal Service. But we've talked about this on this show about giving a gift. The taxpayers in this country every year give the U.S. Postal Service a gift of $18 billion.
Do we?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, a little fun fact. So I guess we can't tell them how to spend it, but we can give it to them. And then they've reported in 2023, they reported a $6.5 billion loss, and their head postmaster got a $175,000 bonus.
Oh, yeah.
Good job, buddy.
All right.
So that's the stuff that we talk about, shrinking the government and getting rid of all the bullshit.
Yeah. You got 2 years to clear out.
I'm living it right now. There's a lot of things that I just spent money on that didn't really matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start not making as much money, you start nipping those.
Yep.
And I think that's the problem we have right now as a whole. So,
well, the annual budget, the federal budget's like $4 trillion. They spend 6.5 this year.
It's close.
But that's whenever my credit cards get like to 50%, I'm thinking like, let's just go nuts this Christmas. You know, like, let's just spend double the max.
Yeah. So that was what Elon said. He's going to try to cut $2.5 trillion out of the budget.
If they can get to even in the first year, we're on to progress.
Listen, I'll be happy with if they can balance the budget. I'm good.
Yeah. Everybody will be good.
Well, go Steelers.
Yeah. Well, I made predictions tonight, so.
Yeah, hopefully George doesn't get ejected and cost himself money.
I had Mike Williams anytime touchdown scorer last week.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah?
Look at you.
I knew the new boy was going to come in for me.
All right.
How about that? He leaves.
Dude, he ran right across the red line.
He did.
Did you see that interview?
Yeah.
Where him and Aaron Rodgers had a beef because Rodgers threw a pick, and he was like, he needs to keep it on the red line. Rodgers is a bust.
He is a bust.
All right, well.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to Between Two Bridges, a business-to-business podcast. Find and follow us on your preferred podcast streaming platform. Like and subscribe, and leave us a rating and review. You can join us socially on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Yes, we still call it Twitter. You can email the show at info@betweentwobridgespodcast.com. Until next time, make it till you rake it.